Right, so that was a little bit weird. Okay, this is another review of the Cabinet of Curiosities, the Del Toro series on Netflix. This episode was called The Outside. I'm not sure why it was called The Outside. I mean, she was an outsider, but strange title. I'd have called it Alu Glow. But anyway, so this episode, so we start out with this girl, and she's kind of not the prettiest girl. They've obviously done stuff to make her look not so pretty. I think it was an actress that was in The Big Bang Theory. I think she played like a love interest for Raj early on, kind of an awkward sort of girl. But I think it's that actress. And they've done stuff to make her look like with her nose and her facial features and her teeth to make her look a little bit less attractive. They just something really weird with her eyes. They made her eyes really dark and they look bigger than this, but like the Irish part looked bigger than it was supposed to be to give us kind of a weirder sort of look. So she's obviously this girl. She's married to a police officer, and the beginning's really weird because she's sort of like you, it goes somewhere, then it completely changes. So it starts off with her in the house. She hears a strange noise, and she's walking around the house with an axe. She doesn't see anything, so then she sort of like rings up her husband, says, "I can hear the noise." He's like, "Don't worry, it's not real. Don't worry about it." So it kind of gets weird. She's sort of hearing things. So I'm about to yawn now. Very tired. It's very late. So then so she's obviously like doing this weird sort of like she's hearing things in the house when it's not there. So then we go to a workplace, and this is really weird because it feels like this should be. This is where I get a bit confused. This is a really strange one because it looks like it's set in the 80s. Like when you see all the women at the back, the glamorous women at the back, they've got the big 80s shoulder pads on and 80s sort of hairstyles. But some of the things they talk about are from now. They talk about like Viagra and fillers and things in their face. But anyway, so it's weirdly shot, so you're not really sure what time period it is. It could almost be a couple of different time periods, but it very much looks fashion wise like the 80s. Anyway, so she's at works at this bank, and there's like a group of ladies that she sort of like wants to be like, and I first thought it was gonna be like a Mean Girls thing because they invite her to the Christmas party, and she pulls a Secret Santa, sort of for the Gina, sort of the main sort of like one of these bank people. And I thought it was gonna be like a Mean Girls thing, but they're actually not that. They're not mean to her at all. They're sort of she's very different to them because she's just like almost like a reclusive sort of like shy girl, but also she's not very attractive and she's got the worst fashion sense, that sort of thing. So I thought it would be like a Mean Girls thing, but it wasn't at all. So she gets invited to the Christmas party. It's Gina's house, and they sort of do a Secret Santa. And when they get to the party, um, she, so our sort of main sort of star of the show, I can't remember her name, but she's into taxidermy, so she likes to do the old like killing the animals and then taxiderming them to make them like I don't understand I've never understood taxidermy and how it's a good thing. I prefer the animal to be alive, but anyway, she's into that. So she's sort of you sort of see her sort of like do some taxidermy on this duck because that's what she's going to give as a gift to this poor Gina woman. She's about to receive that, but you actually see it in detail, sort of how you cut the stomach open, you pull out the inside, and you replace it with this like other stuff, and then you sew it up, and that. It was quite interesting to see how it was done. But it's really weird because obviously the previous one we saw a lot of autopsies, and then we kind of seen it on a duck, which was kind of weird. So then so she's doing her thing with this duck, and then she sort of like takes it to as a present. So he gets to the party, they're all chatting about sort of like men and like things I guess girls talk about, like men's bits and bobs and all kinds of stuff. She's kind of in the it's called they've got like a circle. She's kind of on the outside of the circle. I might as well it's called the outside. But she's on the outside of the circle looking in, and she's sort of like just watching what they're talking about and that. And they also said they're going to start doing these secret Santas that wasn't so secret Santa, and they all sit down and they've all got exactly the same secret Santa box and wrapping paper, sort of that white Christmas wrapping paper, and they sort of give them out, and they're all the exact same gift. It's this all alu glow, which reminded me a little bit of Soul Glow from oh what's it from Coming to America. Soul Glow reminded me of that for some reason. I keep thinking of that every time I heard the name of it. So but it's like it's cream for your face. It's sort of a moisturising cream, one of these like anti-aging things. So you think to yourself, oh, this is good, like whatever. But then they start like, then sort of it's her turn to show off her gift, and her gift's attached to everything. They sort of like, they're all a bit taken aback by it because they're like, who gives someone a dead duck? Like, a bit weird. But, and she sort of realises that they're sort of not into it the way she's into it. But like, they're quite nice about it. Like, the girl gets it's quite nice. I'm just going to put it back in its little box and put it over there. And they all, so no one mocks her or Mickey takes her at all. I'm very tired. But yeah, they sort of they're nice. This really threw me because I thought they were going to do them like really sort of horrible to her or saying it's going to be a bullying thing, but it wasn't. They were quite nice to her. And then they sort of all start trying out this like lotion stuff, and it gets all weirdly sexual for a bit. They're all sort of like rubbing the lotion on themselves, and sort of rubbing it on each other and stuff. And sort of our sort of main girl, she's sitting there all shy, like really sure what's going on. And then she starts to rub it on herself, and she starts to get all like weird with it. But then she starts to get a like reaction to it. And goes completely all red and blotchy and that. So she ends up having to go home because of that. And then when she sort of gets home, her sort of husband says to her, obviously you're allergic to it, and she's got to check my battery life. Okay, so 14%. Let's see if we can do it in 14%. So yeah, she's obviously allergic to this stuff, and it's given her all kinds of issues. So she's not going to use it again. But then she has this weird sort of like, you know, if it's a dream or not. She goes downstairs, and the TV comes on. It's the advert for this all aloe glow stuff, and it tells her you've got to keep going. You've got to take more of it. It's really good for you, and all this sort of stuff. Now, this is the point where it gets really weird. This now. Because she sort of becomes addicted to using this product, even though it's wrecking her face. It's like making all really sore. She's scratching herself till she bleeds. She's really sort of thinking, and her husband's like, you need to stop because it's like it's not doing any favors. But she buys more and puts more of it on herself and that. And then it gets even weirder because she then like starts. This like advert appears on the TV every so often. And it actually talks to her. I remember you heard us like hearing noises before, but now the actual like infomercial, one of the little infomercials, and the guy hosting the infomercial starts to actually directly talk to her, call her by name and stuff like that. She's having a conversation with the TV. So it's really weird. So you're not sure if it's in her head or if it's a bit of psychosis. You don't know what it is. It's really bizarre. So then it gets really weird because she buys this like big bulk amount of these like bottles of this like lotion, this aloe glow stuff, and it's in the basement. So she goes down to get some more, and all the lids start popping off by themselves, and the lotion starts to pour out the top, and she sort of gets freaked out. She runs upstairs to bed and gets into bed with her husband, and asks him if he like has to go to work tomorrow. He's like, yeah, I have to. And the husband's a really nice guy. He actually was in the Spider-Man films. He played like Peter Parker's teacher. It was really hilarious in it. Some real funny moments. But yeah, so he's quite a nice guy as well. Everyone is really nice. Um, so yeah, then she sees all this lotion bubbling out and stuff, and she's scared by it. Goes to bed, and then we sort of see the box, and it's like overflowing with lotion. All the bottles have emptied out. It's all poured onto full of puddle. Then you sort of see like a lump appear in the puddle, and I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to see some tentacle stuff because in the previous episodes I've been saying there's a lot of tentacle stuff. This is the first one without tentacle stuff, so I thought we were going to see tentacles. We don't see no tentacles. So then this like lumpy thing appears in the sort of greyish sort of colour solution, and then we sort of go back to the couple, and she's like, he goes to work, and she then goes down into the basement after a bit of a row with him about how she still wants to use the stuff, and he's telling her not to because it's not good. He's really sort of against it now. She goes down to the basement, and the lumpy glob of solution has turned into like a person. It's actually grown up into a person. It's still like dripping, it's still gooey like, but it's actually a physical person sort of standing there. And it kind of mimics her movements and her behaviour. So as she sort of does this, it's doing that as well. And then it's weird because she sort of like starts to kiss it, and then she caresses it and cuddles it, and it's doing it back to her, and it's really, really, really weird. Then she goes back upstairs, and she's like covered in the solution where she's been cuddling and that, and he's like, right, this has gone too far. And she's like, you don't understand. You don't say this is going to make a new me. That's the growing inside me. It's making me a new person, all this sort of stuff. And he's just like, no, it's not. It's just making you like ill. It's making you look disgusting and all I love you the way you are, sort of thing. He's really a nice guy. And from nowhere, she takes a scalpel and stabs him straight in the head. Like, it must have gone into through his skull and that, because it was like that. And he starts getting a bit weird, and he has to sit down, and he's like, "Shall I take it out?" He freaks out because he's like, "I've got to take it out." He pulls it out, and then the blood's just pouring down his face. And then she goes off to sort of, you think, to get help or get bandages or get something. And then she comes back with the axe and she just kills him with the axe. And it's just like, what the hell? Like, you just didn't see that coming. I really didn't see it coming at all. And she just murders him. And he hasn't really done anything wrong except for tell her that he loves her the way she is. And that's obviously not good enough for her. So now she goes back down. She sort of like goes walking and she sees these footprints of where this like creature, this person that's come out of the all Aluglow gel, the grown person has got sort of walked into the bathroom, and you see this thing like dive into the bath and become like a bath. It sort of then breaks down into sort of like sludge again and becomes like a bath of this cream, which she then gets into and fully submerges. But like you can see, it's sort of like growing, almost like venom, like symbiote, like venom. And it's sort of growing over her face and it's sort of covering her. And then you see her get out of the bath. A bit like time must have gone past. You see her get out of the bath, and she's like covered in this stuff. It's kind of like she's like covered in slime. It's like in Ghostbusters 2, where sort of Ray gets in the slime, he's all covered in it. And it's like starts to come off her, but when you see it come off her, you can see her skin's now cleared up. And something more comfortable. You see the skin is now completely cleared up, and she's like looking prettier. So like her teeth are all like straight, and like a lot of those prosthetics they used to make her look ugly have gone, and her eyes are different now. They're sort of normal sort of size, and they're not as dark, and they're sort of brown to them. And she just looks like really pretty after that. And then she goes to work and sort of meets all the other pretty girls at work and sort of joins in with them. And then the episode ends in the weirdest way with her just like staring down the sort of camera at you, and it's kind of a weird like light around her. And one minute she's laughing and she's staring at each other like, and she's and it was really freaky because it holds that for a long time, to the point where you start to feel really uncomfortable. It's obviously why they've done it, like very clever idea. But you feel really uncomfortable, and there's like a weird sort of like almost like pulsating light that every so often around her. But it's her eyes. She's got big eyes anyway. She's got quite bulgy eyes, big eyes anyway. The actress, but it's just like this stare she does, and her eyes just get really big, and then she sort of goes back to laughing, and she's like, and she's there for so. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to look at the camera. It might be better. Yeah, she's like, and she's like, and she's there for ages, and it's really freaky, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable. And so whoever the director is on that one, if that's what he wanted to, he made me feel very uncomfortable staring at her. And then it ends, and you're kind of like, oh, so you don't really get you don't find out what this glow stuff is. You don't get a resolution. You're left in mystery. Like, has she dreamt it? Has she, like, at one point I was like, has she killed herself, like, in the bath? Is this what's happened? Like, she killed it. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, she taxidermies the husband. Oh, gosh. I was like, no. Yeah, because she's just killed the husband. When she comes, she gets rid of all the stuff and she's all pretty again. She then sets about taxidermying the husband. And the last time you see him, he's sitting on the sofa, like in a frozen state, just staring at the TV with a remote control in his hand. And he's been taxidermied, and he's really, really weird. I don't get that bit. But yeah, I forgot to admit, that actually made me giggle. I shouldn't giggle. You shouldn't giggle with me, but that made me laugh. It was so ridiculous. It's funny. But anyway, I'm really enjoying this series because it is really bizarre, and it seems to get more bizarre with every episode. I also noticed the episodes get longer. With every episode, it's got longer. I think the first one's like 37 minutes, actually quite short, and then they sort of narrow up to like an hour and 4 minutes or 5 minutes or something. It was this last one, and they've literally got like 5 or 10 minutes longer every episode, which is interesting. But anyway, I'm going to continue watching them. I'm going to keep reviewing every time they come out. So you'll get another 2 reviews again tomorrow night. I'm hopefully going to upload this one tonight. As I'm shat, it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, so I can't really watch these programs when the kids are up. And my missus, she don't really like the horror stuff either. So I'm kind of watching these on my own when everyone goes to bed. And yeah, thoroughly enjoying them. So anyway, that was the autopsy one, and we'll see what's next tomorrow night. I'll see you later. Sorry. See you later, guys. Have a good night, and hope you enjoy the reviews. I want to like and subscribe and all that stuff, and notification bells and whistles, and you know what you got. You know what you can do if you want. If you're enjoying this, do that, and you can see more stuff. And anyway, enjoy yourself. Good night.